Good evening, Facebook. Hello, welcome. We're coming to you live from the library, a real life library where people are doing work. Thanks for joining us tonight. We are thrilled to be joined by our entrepreneurial strategist friend, Kim Beer, who does so many great things with us and for us. If you haven't been to one of her classes before, you have been missing out. So thanks for joining us tonight. She's going to have some great information to share with us about social proof, telling us all about it, what it is, how do you use it, what does it mean? I don't want to take any of her time more than I absolutely have to. So a couple of quick things. Get in the comments. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're watching from. If you have a business and you want to tell us a little bit about it, feel free to do that there. But yeah, take a minute and tell us who you are. We'd love to know who's here with us tonight. And if you have questions throughout the class, hop in there in the comments. We can flash those up on the screen to make sure that Kim sees those and is able to address those throughout the class. That's why you're here, to get your questions answered. So don't be shy. Let us know what you need. And then at the end, we will post a link to a very itty bitty short little survey that helps us keep doing this programming for free on behalf of the library, with thanks to the Kauffman Foundation for their funding. So with no further ado, thanks again for being here. I'm going to bring Kim in.
Hi, Megan.
There we are.
Thank you.
Holler if you need anything. I'll be in the back.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Hey there, everybody, and welcome to the programming. We're going to be talking tonight about social proof. And this is a very important subject that I don't think we talk about enough. It is one of your business's best assets. And a lot of times we just expect it to happen. We don't expect to mindfully grow it. And that's what we're going to explore tonight, is what social proof is and how to acquire it for your business. So our goal by the end of this class tonight is that you're going to understand what social proof is, its value to your art or other business, entrepreneurial business, and how to get more social proof. My name is Kimberly Beer, and I am an entrepreneurial strategist and creative adventurer. You'll see I have a lovely horse standing here with me in the photo. A lot of my work over the last 30 years of entrepreneurship has been done in the equine industry. So I've had the privilege to work with a lot of people who partner with horses, whether that be in breeding and showing, or through equine assisted therapy, or through just the love of horses and having them in their lives. I'm a professional photographer, and I also am a business coach and consultant. And I've been doing that gig for quite many years now. I teach several classes for Square One. One of them is the Business Model Canvas class, where we explore how to build a business visually, which I think is really beneficial for everyone. I also teach classes across Kansas City for SCORE and other organizations. So this is one of my passions. I absolutely love teaching and helping people explore their businesses. All right, you will see me occasionally glance to my right. It looks left on the video, but that's me checking over here for comments. I am live at this moment and am willing to answer. You don't interrupt me. You're not going to bother me. If you have something that you want to know more about, or a comment that you want to put in, or a question, I encourage you, please get involved in this conversation, engage, get interested in what we're talking about here, because this is a fantastic subject, and it, again, is a very important one for your business. All right, without further ado, let's go on to explore what is social proof exactly. So social proof has become, well, it's always been important. Let's start with those. Let's go back for a moment. Any businesses that you know of that have been in business for any length of time will tell you that the number one way that they have built their business, the number one marketing avenue, the one that has been the most successful, is word of mouth marketing. So before the internet, before we all got so connected digitally, social proof was still very relevant to businesses. It just happened over the backyard fence, or it happened neighbor to neighbor. And it still happens that way today. It just happens to be that all of our digital communication and the fact that we connect to each other through the internet has made a whole new avenue for social proof to grow and to be important. And I can guarantee you, as a consumer, social proof has held value for you as a consumer, which means as a business owner, it holds a lot of value for us. So, social proof is any time a potential customer, someone that doesn't know about your business, doesn't know what you have to offer, doesn't know what you're saying or doing out in the world, anytime a potential customer learns about your business from another person's experience. So, this is the most valuable type of marketing because it comes with a stamp of approval from the people that have had the experience. So it has a lot of weight and it carries a lot of impact when someone talks about your business. Now, social proof can come in two flavors. It can be good and it can be bad. We're going to talk primarily about the good kind tonight, but we'll also talk a little bit about what happens when people talk negatively about your business. So, first of all, let's just dive into what social proof looks like out in the world. And I hope that on these next few slides, there are going to be some things that you learn and you go, oh, you know what? I knew that existed, but I never saw that as social proof for my business before. So I hope also that you may have some things that even add to the list. I don't, by any stretch of the imagination, call this a comprehensive list of things for social proof. So the most obvious one we already kind of mentioned. That's word of mouth, talking over the backyard fence, friends over coffee. One friend mentions to the other that, hey, I'm looking for a new hairdresser. The friend says, oh, you know what? I have a great one. Here is her card. Or I'm looking for a new person to work on my home. Well, great. Here's a card of a handyman or a handywoman services that I've used before and had good results with. When we have that kind of marketing to us as a consumer, the really key aspect is that we probably aren't going to look any further. Like if I'm looking for that person to cut my hair and my friend tells me that this person is the person I should go to or recommend someone, chances are I'm not going to even look any further. I'm going to take that card, take that number, whatever that friend gave me, and I'm going to make the appointment because that friend has told me how important that or how good this person was at doing their job. So word of mouth is really important. Testimonials are another type of social proof. This is where someone talks about your business in depth and explains what the benefits were that working with your business or buying your product or taking advantage of your service or donating to your nonprofit, what those benefits looked like for them. A lot of times, testimonials are what we call gathered social proof. In other words, you ask for them, and we're going to cover the different ways that we get social proof. So there's 4 ways that we can go about doing that, and testimonials are definitely one of them. Recommendations, both asked for and not asked for. Sometimes that friend will say, I'm looking for a recommendation. This happens a lot in the business world, right? So, a lot of times, as business owners, especially new business owners, we look to our mentors or to leaders in our business community. And when we need something, we'll ask for that. We'll say, hey, we're looking for a website designer for our business. Do you know someone or who does your website design? There's also not asked for recommendations. So maybe you go work with a business coach and the business coach says to you, I think that you could update your website. And here's a list of designers that I've worked with in the past that I feel would be a good fit. And then there's also something that I like to call public usage, right? So back to our website example, there's a common practice among website designers to put their name at the footer of the website and say this site was designed by whomever that happens to be. we as consumers, maybe we're shopping our competition, or maybe we're shopping other industry related websites, and we see someone's name at the bottom of a website as the designer. That's public usage. That gets me to say, oh, okay, I might want to hire that company because I like this website design. It goes further than that. It's people using your product in a photo on social media or on Facebook. I can look around my desk here and I can say, this is my Arctic cup, having the logo on the bottom, which you can't really see, but if I were drinking, you might see that logo. That's public usage. That's people seeing your product or your service or your business being utilized by another person. And again, that carries a lot of weight with the world at large as consumers, because it shows that that is a viable, usable product that other people are taking advantage of. So there's 4 possible ways. Let's look at more. Google reviews. These are crucial to most businesses in the world. We look at businesses, and when we, Google a business, we get a ton of options, especially if we're looking for a local business. Let's say we're looking for a local restaurant or something like that, we ask Siri, and I hope she doesn't wake up here. I'm hungry. I want something to eat. How do you choose those things as a consumer? You look at the reviews. And if a restaurant or a service establishment, or any business for that matter, has more stars or has more reviews than another business, we take that seriously as consumers. If you have a choice between 2 restaurants, and one is a 2-star restaurant and one is a 5-star restaurant, and they're both basically equal distances and look like they're about the same price, chances are you're going to pick the 5-star restaurant. It is weighty in our decision making about who we're going to choose to work with. So Google reviews are important. Social media reviews are also important. For some businesses, a social media review may be more important than a Google review, and vice versa for others. And there are also other places that we leave reviews as consumers. Yelp, if you're a restaurant; TripAdvisor, if you're any place that travelers come; reviews on Amazon, if you're an author selling a book, or anything on Amazon for that matter. All of those things are ways that consumers who don't know you and haven't had an experience with you as a business can judge whether or not they want to choose you. And like it or not, these reviews are important, and they are used as a basis for consumers to make a decision as to whether or not to use your business. Another type of review is a LinkedIn recommendation. If you're a business to business, um, your word, you as the business owner, or you as the sales rep, or you as the representative of that business, you are under scrutiny as well. People are going to check you out. That's the wonderful thing about the internet, is we can get to know people before we work with them. And trust me on this, recommendations on your LinkedIn profile carry a lot of weight. They're important to the person who is considering working with you. And will a bad review, or they don't really put bad recommendations on LinkedIn, but will a poor review keep someone from working with you? Probably not. It depends on how you have handled that review in your business. So let's just go there for one moment. Let's say you do get a bad Google review, or someone's angry at you. A lot of times on the reviews, people worry about like former employees, or people who they had a good experience, or they would have never had a good experience, but they complained about things anyway. Um, you can answer those reviews on all of these platforms. You can respond to them, and you have the opportunity to state your case. And as a consumer, that means a lot, right? Because we want businesses that engage with us, and we want businesses that are attentive to our needs as a consumer. So, for those of you that are worried or haven't jumped into the review bandwagon because you're afraid of bad reviews, don't. Don't worry about that. If you're a good, reputable business, and I know if you're listening to this, you are because you care enough to understand something like social proof, then just respond. Be there, answer questions, um, get as much resolution as you can with anybody who has a problem with your business. And this will be a golden opportunity for you to grow your exposure and also to bring really good, qualified, already pre sold people into your business. So, reviews are important. Subscribers are another way that we provide social proof to businesses as consumers. And look at this on social media, like subscribers, followers. Your search result ranking is important as well. That's another form of social proof, albeit that the average consumer doesn't understand even a portion of the factors that go into how Google ranks websites. Just the fact that your business appears there on like one of the initial pages in a Google search, that gives your business credibility. It's why people scramble so hard and pay advertising money for Google in order to get in those top search result returns for certain keyword searches. Um, Likes are also another way that people show their approval or like or understanding of your business. Now, some of these things, the social media platforms have sort of shuffled to the bottom of the importance because they became a big deal and people were what we like to call cheesing those things and getting false subscribers and followers and likes and those kind of things. So they aren't as prominent as they once were, but they still matter to your consumers. They still matter, especially when somebody's on the fence about something, maybe an offer that you've put out on social media, and all of a sudden they look at it and they see that there are, 100 likes on that post. Then they're much more likely to go ahead and click on it and see what it's about. Because if 100 people liked it or 10 people liked it, even that is proof that that is a valid offer, that that's something they might want to pursue. Comments are another way of social proof, and those are especially important on like those promotional ads that you see on Facebook. People will make comments. If you, as the business owner, are responding to those comments, you're answering questions, you're engaged with your community, and people are saying positive things or asking a lot of questions, that's hugely beneficial to your brand and to your exposure because comments are the way a lot of the social media algorithms determine how are the basis they use to determine to show your post to more people. So comments are gold in two ways, but in social proof, they're again proving that people have an interest in what you're doing and that they're having the experience that you as the consumer may want to have. Shares are important. That's another way of social proof. That's your customers saying, hey, look at this. I did this, or this is important. And it comes from this brand. Social recommendations. When people ask on a social network, I just did this. I'm looking for a t shirt company to work with us on some projects. I'm looking for somebody to do shirts for us. And I posted in a Facebook group. Um, does anybody have any recommendations for t-shirt companies in Kansas City that we could work with? And I got 36 or 40 comments. Those organizations, the companies that represent the ones that were listed in those comments, they didn't pay the people, they didn't prod them, they didn't do anything except just simply do a good job to get recommended on those type of posts. And trust me, those are out there a lot. We see them a lot. Also, survey and poll data. When you do surveys or you poll your customers, it becomes social proof when you publish the results. Important piece of one of my clients, they have a certification program. And the method that they teach, they had a third party independent study done, and the numbers were fantastic about positive results for their method, and they published that on their website. That is social proof. That's a number of people saying, hey, this worked for me, and nothing more. They don't say you should try it or you need to do this. It's just this worked for me. And as consumers, we see that and we engage with it and we understand how that could work for us. Ask the expert is another thing. Ask the artist, ask the expert. Uh, where you are someone who is an influencer or someone who uses your product that has a expertise in something, mentions your product. It would be an example of this would be maybe you have an office supply store and the local business coach teaches classes and you sponsor their class, or you have them have you answer questions for their audience about where to buy the best office supplies in a certain area. So ask the expert is important. Podcasts and media appearances are also social proof. Those are places where you're showing up as the star of the program, as the expert yourself, and you're answering questions and you're putting yourself out there with proof that your business has something to offer. Featured profiles are another way that you can do this. They can show up in somebody featuring you on a blog post or somebody featuring you in a magazine. Uh, Public relations is yet another one. Back to the featured profiles, industry magazines, trade magazines, a lot of time will feature profiles of their members. Believe it or not, that's social proof as well. Those are proof of what you're doing as a business. Your website and your blog offer more social proof. So, particularly if you choose to use case studies where you talk about a specific case. So, I have clients who, for an example, I have a client who does chimney repair and they will show the job. They'll take before and after pictures on their blog and place them on their blog and talk about that particular job and get a comment from the customer. So that's kind of a case study. This is what it looks like when you work with this business. Portfolios, if you're an artist or a designer, a portfolio that shows your past work that was published work for clients, that shows you've had clients. It goes a long way when you're going and sitting across from a new client to sell a job. Shows and expos are yet another way. This is you publicly showing up as a representative for your business with proof you exist. It's proof of life for your business. And trade show organization listings. That kind of, I mentioned it on the last slide, but here it is in print. So those are just some of the ways that social proof shows up in our lives. And as a consumer, stop for a moment and think. When you go to buy something, when you go to research something where you have a choice between competitive businesses, or when you are getting involved in saying, I want to do X, Y, or Z, or I need X, Y, or Z, you use social proof to make those decisions. It is a huge part of what you do to make those decisions. And even if you don't go into it looking for the social proof will oftentimes make the difference between you contacting a company or choosing one company over another. As a business owner, we have to look at that as really important. So let's take a moment and look at some reasons of why social proof is so important. The first thing it does is it builds trust. And this is crucial in the consumer relationship. When you are first working with a new company as a consumer, you don't have a trust factor with them. It's still an unknown quantity. But if you have a recommendation or you see positive reviews, you already have trust in that company because you've seen what other people have said and you trust that. And so you trust the company that you're working with. From a company perspective, from a business perspective, customers that come to you already trusting you or already with some trust built up through social proof are better customers because they will let the little things go. They're not looking for a problem. They're not skeptical. They've already had their mind made up and been convinced that your business and your company is a reputable one. Other people are using it. Other people are having good experiences. And so they're automatically more lenient, even if you make a mistake or you're not completely up to par. The trust factor was already built in there. So those social proof goes a long way to prevent complaints during the sales process or during the service process. It creates connection. So all of us want to be part of a larger puzzle, right? We all want to feel connected. We all want to feel loyal to each other. Those are all positive human emotions. And social proof creates that without you, the business owner, even having to do much of anything to get it. Now, you do have to do some things, but that connection happens magically between the person that did the recommendation or the review and the consumer. And it comes back to you with huge benefits because that connection was already established before the consumer even showed up in your business. It provides comfort, right? All of us want to know we're making the right decision. I don't think there's a person on this planet that doesn't think carefully around the decisions they make or worry that if they make quick decisions that they might regret that decision. Reviews, social proof, testimonials, um, comments, people following, liking, subscribing, they all provide comfort to know that we're making a good decision. And from a business perspective, again, the people that show up in our businesses that come from a connection through social proof come to us more comfortable, more open, and more ready to purchase, honestly. So let's talk for a moment about something that underlies all of this that makes social proof so powerful. And it has to do with us as humans, and it's something called narrative theory. So, human beings are unique in that we can have someone else tell us a story or about an experience, and we can actually absorb and learn from that. So, I love horses. I credit them with being incredibly smart beings, and they have a lot of talents, but they can't learn by watching. They have to learn by doing. You can't Yeah, I can't go out and sit and have a conversation with one of my horses and say, here is a good thing that I think that you should do. And here's how you do it. Step A, step B, step C, step D. And this is the experience that you'll get from it. It's more than just the language barrier. But humans, we depend on each other. Our societal strength lies in the fact that we can understand from another person's perspective and absorb from how another person tells a story to us or expresses themselves. So, narrative theory is kind of at the basis of why social proof is so powerful in sales and marketing because it results are what I just talked about: trust, comfort, connection. All of those things are things that we want, but the fact that we can learn from other people's experiences, that we can absorb from somebody else's story what that experience might be like for us or what the experience will be like from us is so powerful. And businesses that really use social proof are incredibly successful because they're really good at helping people experience their product or their service before they even make a decision to buy it, if that makes a weird kind of sense. All right. So now let's look at the four types of social proof and what you need to do to get them. So the first type of social proof is what I call provided social proof. And this is really powerful social proof. It's given freely by your customer. It comes in the form of reviews, recommendations, or word of mouth. And it is most impactful when a potential customer is in the awareness or consideration phases of the customer journey. So let's break that down just a little bit more. So, a gentleman named Eugene Swartz back in 1966 developed a formula that these five stages of consumer awareness. So, the five stages are unaware, which is someone who doesn't even know that they need something, right? Person that is problem aware. So that's a person who knows that they have a pain point or a problem or want something, but they don't have any recognition beyond that. Then solution aware, that is the person who is aware that there's a solution out there to their problem. Then the fourth stage of awareness is that the individual who is not only aware that there's a solution, but that your business provides that solution. And then the final step is where that person is actually most aware, they've understood what your business is like. So, those are the five stages of awareness. When we move past awareness and that person is most aware, then they move into some steps to make a sale. So, that would be consideration. And then they have to take an action on that consideration to purchase. And then there's the actual delivery of whatever it is that you have to offer, and then the follow up afterward. So, in those first five stages that I mentioned, unaware people we can't reach. Problem aware people are really hard to reach because they're not really sure that there's a solution out there yet. It hasn't really attached. But from solution aware to most aware, that is where provided social proof is the most impactful. People in these stages are doing their research, they're doing their homework, they're going to your website, they're going to look at your social media, they're asking people around them if they know that they've had an experience with your organization or your business or your product or whatever it is you have to offer. They're asking about those things. They're not coming directly to you yet, but they are looking around at all of the things that they can gather about your particular business and what it has to offer. So, all of that provided social proof is really integral in them making a decision to work with your company and going back to those things that feel important: comfort, trust, and connection. There's also gathered social proof. So, this is where you, as the business owner, go out and gather the social proof. You harvest it during the customer journey and after the customer journey is complete. Things in the gathered social proof area are case studies, polls, survey data, testimonials, etc. So these are most impactful during the sales and decision making phases of the customer journey. So once the customer has reached out to the business, to you, gathered social proof becomes really important in you making that sale. Now, it can be as simple as a chart sitting next to a product in your store that explains things about that product or shows data or testimonials about that particular product, all of the way to someone who is selling a complex series of coaching sessions, say a life coaching sessions, where they can take case studies and sit down with you as the consumer and talk about the results that they've gotten for their clients. Those are important pieces. And most of the time, that type of social proof is gathered by you. you as the business owner mindfully take a look at how can you do this in your own business? How can you attain gathered social proof and make it a part of your marketing and also a part of your sales materials? Because here is where it is really important, because these numbers are going to sway somebody who may be on the fence back and forth about whether or not this would be a good fit for them. Okay, so the next type is wild. So we love the wild social proof. Okay, so this is social proof that you don't really have any control over. It's something that happens out in the ethers, usually on social media and or in that lunch conversation where the topic just happens to come up. So it's offered in the customer social circle. It includes things like word of mouth or in-person recommendations or social comments. And it is the most impactful of all social media proof or all social proof because it has no seeable or traceable connection directly to your business. In other words, it's just simply offered out there in the wild. It shows up as comments on somebody's page. So let's say for my company that does the fireplace repair and chimney repair, let's say I hire them and I just love my chimney so much. It's not really attached to them, not my customer experience per se, but I just love the way it looks on my house. And I start taking a ton of pictures of my house and posting them on social media. That is wild social proof. That's social proof in the wild, so to speak. And when people see it, it feels really, really organic because it is. So it's not something that I set out to do. I didn't set out to maybe promote that company, but in the process of posting pictures of my new chimney and fireplace that I love so much, I have given them social proof. And that's truly impactful because I can guarantee you someone in that person's social circle probably has a house the same age, probably is thinking of getting their fireplace redone, and they will reach out and ask, "Where did you get that?" And then that person will come to your business if that's your business and hire you. So social proof in the wild is awesome. There are some techniques you have to learn in order to capture in the wild social proof. The fourth type of social proof is authority. So, this type of social proof comes in the form of experts or appearances and public relations. So, this is, and if you're an artist, it's your appearances typically, but this is where people talk about you. So, for example, we have a podcast and we talk about businesses that we have worked with and our experiences with those businesses. Or let's say you have someone who has a podcast or a blog or a TV show or something that's, let's say you're a home improvement company, then if you have there's a home improvement TV show or a home improvement segment, if you can get your business featured on there, that's social proof and that's social proof from authority. So it's anytime anybody that's in the industry that you're serving that is well respected and well appreciated talks about or has you talk about or somehow endorses or engages in spreading information about your business. So, podcast interviews, articles, news stories, those are all the types of authority social proof that's out there. This is most impactful again during that awareness phase and again during the final consideration. When somebody is on the fence and thinking about purchasing something, authority social proof can be hugely important. So, you saw the pretty horse in my picture at the beginning of the presentation. In the equine industry, there are people known as clinicians. So these people are very public horse trainers and they will do expos and events, and they have podcasts and magazines and training programs. And if you are a business that serves the equine industry, you having your product or your service or you being interviewed by one of these individuals is magic in getting people to buy what it is that you are selling. I had a client who made saddle pads for horses. And one of the ways that she was able to market or promote her saddle pads was to have people who are professional rodeo people, very well respected, winning on the circuits, use her product because people saw it. And then those people had their patch on their shirt that had her business name. They also talked about her product when they were interviewed or if the subject came up in a conversation. So they, as an authority, as somebody who is out there winning, they are providing social proof for her business and her products quality and usage. So that's a big thing in convincing people right at the end. So maybe they found you another way, but they see on your website or they hear on a podcast one of the figures that they follow and really trust and want have endorsed in their own selves as an authority, and they hear them talk about your business. That'll be all they need to make a purchase. So authority is also really important. So, how do you make social proof part of your marketing plan? We've talked about the four types of social proof. We talked about what social proof is. We talked about why it's so powerful. Now, let's talk about how to make it part of your program. So, the first thing you need to do is you need to make it easy peasy, super duper obvious, and you need to ask for social proof. Most of the time, consumers don't think about providing social proof unless they're prompted in some capacity to do so. So there's ways as a business that we can do this. The first thing we can do is follow up with an email with a link to one review site with a review request. So I'm going to say this now, and I'm probably going to repeat it again during this presentation. When you send out a link for people to review your business, send one link only. This means you, as a business owner, need to decide where is it most impactful in this moment in time for you to get social proof for your business. For a lot of you, this is going to be Google, because Google is going to be where people primarily go to find you to contact you. So may want to send them to your Google review page. So how do you do that? So one of the ways that you do that is you have to have a Google My Business listing. So to get that, you go to google.com/business and you sign up for a Google My Business listing. That provides you with a space that you can confirm your business, get it verified through Google, and then you will show up in searches when people Google your business name. It also allows you to collect reviews that you have an opportunity to respond to. And remember when we talked about those bad reviews not being too scary? They're not scary if you have the opportunity to respond to them. So it's really important. So in order for you to get the review that you need to make it super duper easy peasy, obvious, and not a lot of problem for the person to leave that review. So after the customer experience, send them a follow-up email with a link that they can click and go directly to your Google My Business listing and leave their review for your business. Google will provide you with one of those when you get your Google My Business listing verified. So that is key. If you want Facebook reviews, then you need to set that up on Facebook and you need to offer them the link to go leave that on your Facebook page. If you want LinkedIn recommendations, you need to ask through LinkedIn. If you want testimonials, put in a link there to call you and talk with them. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the next couple of slides. Get in the habit of asking for a follow-up session after jobs to discuss the client's experience. So if you're a service business, this is really important. For one thing, it shows good customer service because you're asking that person about their experience. And if you're a savvy business owner, you should know by now that your business isn't about you. It's about your customers and their experience. And anytime you take the time to get more understanding, even if they don't leave you a review or even if they don't provide a testimonial, you've gathered really important information about how to keep improving your business over time. Another way that you can get social proof by asking is to do customer interviews, polls, surveys, all of those things. Go ahead and collect that data that makes such a difference later on, or interview your customers and look for testimonials in those interviews. Another way you can do this is to find that social media or social proof in the wild is to get social with your customers and invite them into your network. So we call it social shadowing. We don't like to call it social stalking, but it kind of feels a little bit like it on occasion. Follow your best customers on social media. If they talk about your business or if they provide recommendations or you see them promoting your business, reward them. Anybody who provides you with good social proof, reward them. If they give you a recommendation and somebody comes to you and say, hey, Megan sent me to you for this, then go back to Megan, find out who Megan is, and go back to Megan and talk with her and say thank you and reward her. It doesn't have to be big. It could be a $5 Starbucks gift card, or it could be just simply a really nice thank you card, or even just a really nice thank you. So reward those customers who give you recommendations. And remember, you have to give to get. The law of reciprocity is very, very real. If you give recommendations, you will get recommendations in return. So be a connector, work your network, get to know the people in your network, and give recommendations as well as ask or garner them for your own business. Trust me, it's crazy, but it works. It works a lot and it works easily. And you know what? You're helping out another business by providing a recommendation for them of something that you like or something that you appreciate. When you socially shadow your best customers, also remember that those customers, if you friend them on social media, they do get to see your social media posts. So just remember that as a business owner, that a lot of times we want to avoid the really controversial things on social media. To be honest, once you become a business owner and you put yourself out in the world as whatever level of public figure that offers, but it is a level of public figure. People can find what is on your social media and they will judge you for it. So just be aware that all of those things that your mother taught you not to talk about in polite public, religion, politics, and I know a lot of you are in Kansas City because Square One is in Kansas City. Sports is kind of off the table too. So, just don't start arguments with people. Just use common sense. And if you want to talk about those things with your full opinion, do it privately where it's not on a platform that could be read socially. And I know your mom probably told you that and you didn't listen, but I'm going to mention it again right here. Because to be honest, the social shadowing part, getting involved in your customers' lives, getting to understand who they are as people, it only helps you grow your business because the better you understand your customers, the better you'll be able to serve them with your product or service, and the better they'll respond. So it just grows your business exponentially and it leaves so many good feelings in its wake. All right. The next one is don't miss the great organic opportunities that come your way to be able to collect social proof. Capitalize on the moments when your customers give them do social proof organically. So here's what happens a lot, right? Let's say you're a florist and you do the flowers for a wedding. And the day of the wedding, you're delivering all of the flowers, and the bride or the mother of the bride or the parents of the bride come over to you and they say, "These are gorgeous. Thank you so much for all of your hard work. We really appreciate all the effort you put into creating a really big, beautiful floral display for the wedding. And we really appreciate it. These flowers are beautiful. Your work is impeccable." I mean, they're just going on and on and on. That's the moment. As a business owner, you need to whip out your handy dandy cell phone that we all have that has a camera and a recorder on it. And you need to record that person's testimonial. Now, I will tell you, if you just point the camera at them and say, "Can you say that again?" they'll freeze like a deer in the headlights. It doesn't work. So here's what you do as a business owner. You ask, and this is how I would do it. I'll give you the exact words. "Thank you so much. I appreciate you talking about the displays that way. This is what I love to do. I'm very passionate about it. I'm growing my business, and what you just said would be so meaningful to somebody who is considering hiring me to do their wedding. Would you mind if I recorded what you said as a testimonial that I could use on my website or in my marketing? And I promise I won't show anybody the video, but I just want to capture your words. And if you'll say your name and email, I'll send you a copy of what I write up so that you can approve it before I publish it." And then get your camera, because most of the time they'll say yes because they're all happy with you. Then get your camera and point it at them, but don't just hit the record button and stand there. Go ahead and prompt them. What you want to do is pick out of what they were just raving about is the most important piece of that you feel would really benefit your marketing or your customers, and you ask them a question around that. So in this case, if I were that florist, I would say, "You were just talking about how beautiful the displays are here at your wedding, and that you were really pleased with how timely they were delivered, and that the flowers were fresh. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?" And they'll repeat back what you say, and then they'll go on to their own thing and talk in their own way. Then go back, get that testimonial typed up, follow through, email it to them, get it approved. The thing that most businesses expect is they expect their customers to do this without any help. They expect their customers to leave positive reviews on Google, or they expect them to write testimonials and send them in. Consumers don't have that kind of time. I mean, let's be honest. Ask yourself, do you have that kind of time if somebody doesn't ask you to do it? It's not that you don't want to, it's just that a lot of times it's outside of the fire that you're putting out right at the moment, right? So if you as a business garner this stuff, if you ask for it and you record it in that moment, that person is super happy. They don't have to put a lot of effort into that. You got the reward of the great testimonial. Everybody is happy. You've got social proof. They've got beautiful flowers. It all works out and everyone is golden. Um, but if you just let that moment slip by, it gets really hard for that person to provide that proof. And here's what happens most of the time when that happens, even if the business owner asks for it, the business owner will say something like, "That would be really cool if you'd leave that as a review on my website," or, "I'm trying to build my business. Could you leave that as a review?" And the customer will say, "Yes, but that's a bride or a mother of the bride. And trust me, if you're just delivering the flowers, they got a long day." And by the next morning, they've forgotten all about that moment. It's not because they don't like you or because they didn't want to. It's just because life happens and it gets in the way. It's your job as the business owner to make sure you go back and get what you need to get from that business or from that customer. So record them. That's one technique. then publish testimonials everywhere. If you can get a picture, that's great. You know what? If the person that was saying it doesn't want to be the picture, turn around and take a picture of the flowers in that instance and publish it with the testimonial. It carries so much weight when people get that testimonial in front of them later on. Another thing that you can do to really help here is also do a lot of customer interviews. When I first start working with clients on their business around marketing, one of the first assignments that I give them is to do 3 to 5 interviews with the customers that they want to have more of. And when they do those interviews, there are some very specific questions that I have them ask. And the reason for those questions is they're leading questions that will hopefully get them to a good testimonial. And if they record the interview session, it's really two bangs for the buck, right? One, they're getting good information about how to improve their business and also how to attract more people like the customer that they interviewed. But a lot of times they're also going to get a testimonial out of the deal as well. So interviews are key in you both improving your business, leveling it up, and also getting um, new testimonials into your business. All right. So we've talked about some ways that you can use social proof in your marketing. So let's talk about how do you build a plan around using social proof for your marketing. All right. Step one, determine where your customers are seeking out information about you. Where is it that they're going? Is it Google? Is it your website? Is it your social media platform? If you are a business that does trips and all of those things, like you do have a hotel or a motel or um, you are a traveled to venue, Yelp or TripAdvisor is going to be really important. Yelp is important if you're a restaurant. Apple reviews are important if you're a restaurant because you want to be listed on Apple Maps, but you also want to have those star ratings as well to go along with them. So you have to determine, where is it important for you? And there may be more than one place. And again, you're only going to ask for one link when you ask for the review. You want to point them to one place, but that doesn't mean that you can't do every other person, right? Give some people Google, give some people Facebook, give some people Yelp, wherever it is. But the first step is for you to take a look at, where are people seeking information about you? So, um, the way to find that out is to ask. So, one of the best ways for you to ask that is during the initial consultation or initial contact with a customer. Ask them where they heard about your business and then listen to what they have to say, because they'll tell you where they looked for you. So ask a few questions just in the process of getting to know them. Trust me, they'll appreciate that. I mean, it's not the third degree, but just a couple of questions that help you understand them and how they're finding your business. So that's one way you can do that, is just to get to understand, is to ask a few questions, but determine where they're coming from. The next thing you need to do is you need to set up the ability to receive social proof in those areas. So I already talked about Google My Business, and then in order to get Google reviews that show up, especially on local listings, you need to have that Google My Business or google.com/business. You need to have that listing set up. So that's key and integral. The same thing goes with Facebook. You have to set up for Facebook to do reviews. On LinkedIn, it gets a little bit more complex in that you need to actually sometimes request the recommendation from somebody. So there's lots of different ways that you are going to set that ability up to get that social proof. Um, if you are wanting more social proof in the form of testimonials, then make it part of your follow up process to ask for that social proof. If you are wanting to get more just reviews or likes, set it up as part of your process to to initially ask people to follow you on social media. Again, people don't not do it because they don't want to. It's just life is complex and you don't always think about all of the ways as a consumer that you could help the businesses that you purchase from. It's just not on your radar as a consumer, but it is as a business owner. So you need to get into asking those things. If people don't have a way to set that social proof up, it becomes really difficult for you to gather that social proof. Okay, so I'm trying to watch our comments here. One of the things I want to mention right now is that Square One just posted in here well, it was a few minutes ago about need help setting up any of these things that I've been talking about. They have counselors that will help you do this. I work with a lot of organizations that provide free help to businesses, and I can tell you the lengths to Square One goes to help you as a business owner become truly successful in your business is astounding. I wished I would have found them 10 years ago when I was starting into some of my business growth, or I wish they would have been around when I started my business because the support that they give is so instrumental in helping you build your business. A lot of us, when we create a business because it's something we love to do. And the truth is, the business has to be focused on our customers and it has to be a business that has some sense to it. And many times, we as business owners don't always have that. Square One people have it. Reach out to them. Yes, and that's social proof. And that is an example of social proof. Okay, so back to our presentation at hand. Another part of our plan is that we're going to start asking for that social proof. And this is really important. And the first thing that you need to kind of get into your head is that people want to provide you with social proof. If they have a good experience with your business, providing social proof is not a problem. It's not an inconvenience for them. And as a matter of fact, most of the time, people really want to help, especially small to medium sized businesses, compete and grow. And they want to feel connected to the brands that they purchase from and that they serve. And I think that is even more crucial today than it was a few years ago. So, asking for social proof should not be a problem for you. And if you haven't made it part of the entire process of your sales and service, then now is the time for you to start thinking about ways that you can get in there and ask for social proof from your customers during the customer journey. It's always easier to get social proof in the process of the customer journey and towards the sales and satisfaction, like right after, than it is to try to go back and get it retrospectively a long period of time later. So just start making it a habit. Think of ways that you can get social proof from customers. The next step is to utilize the social proof that you gather because social proof isn't any good if it sits in a cabinet in your office. So, hopefully, you're getting that provided social proof on for reviews and stars and those kind of things. But the other social proof, those testimonials, the things that you've gathered from people, you're going to have to utilize that all on your own. Utilize it. Publish your testimonials on your website. Trust me, people read those. They read them and they are impactful. And there's plugins that you can put on your site if you want to concentrate your reviews and stuff on one channel like Google. There's plugins that you can put on your website, and I think just about any website company will be able to do that, where you can list your Google reviews right on your website. So you can utilize those as well. So using your social proof is absolutely key and integral for you to be able to get more social proof, because it's kind of like anything, when people see it happening, then it will continue to grow. So let's look here at, I think Michelle has a question. So we tried a survey and got all positive responses, but from a small percentage of our customers. How do you feel about providing incentives such as discounts to get them to actually respond? I think it's awesome, Michelle, as long as what you're providing them is not an incentive for a positive review. So, in other words, if you're sending out a poll or a survey and you're saying, if you fill this all the way out, we'll buy you a cup of coffee, I think that's perfectly good. I would make the discount, um, or the incentive something that is non-associated with your business, like the cup of coffee from Starbucks. If you're, as long as you're not the coffee house, if you're the coffee house, maybe do something different. But if you keep it kind of detached, in other words, where you're not like rewarding with the things that you're doing for filling out the survey, then I think that it's perfectly fine. I think you get into a little bit of an ethical conundrum if you're going to offer discounts to people, on additional product or something like that from your own business. But I think that, honestly, think of it this way: it's good feedback. And as a business owner, wouldn't you be happy to pay $5 for feedback from any customer, good or bad, so you understood about how to do your business better? So I think I'd be all down with it for you to do that. There's a lot of large organizations that do that. Like if you fill out this survey, there are some of them that'll do, like, they'll put you in a drawing for a reward if you fill out the survey. I've done that a lot for organizations where they'll survey me, because of my consulting business on something that has to do with business or software or something like that. And the end result is I get input into a drawing for $100 Amazon card. The problem I have with that is I don't think I've ever won one of those, so I kind of question if they're actually legit, but I'll still fill the survey out, right? So I also think being respectful of your people when you ask the survey, in other words, don't ask a bunch of inane questions. Be very particular about the questions you ask, and ask questions that are really going to help you, either through social proof or through an improvement in your process, or to provide data that shows the results that you offer in your business. But don't ask a lot of questions that aren't really pertinent, and try to keep your surveys or polls really short. I think that would probably help. Yes, and you want it to be real. I'm not sure a small reward would sway anybody to do it real. To do it, to fake a poll or a survey. So, I think that you would still get genuine responses. So again, back to this: utilize the social proof you gather. Utilize it a lot. Show it off, because you want to know something else. It makes your customer feel good. That mother of the bride or bride that bragged about the flowers, and you post their testimonial on your website with a really pretty picture of their, wedding flowers that they were so proud of, that's a moment for them, right? It's so cool to be featured for that particular, um, moment. And you know what else it does? It builds connection and it builds community. And they'll talk about the fact that, oh, there's the prettiest picture on our, on our website, on the florist website, of my daughter's flowers. I mean, it's good for that consumer too, to see their information out there to the world. So it's important. So the next step is to engage with and reward customers who provide social proof, good or bad. So if they provide a negative social proof, the most important thing for you to do is to respond to that negative social proof publicly. So if somebody leaves you a 1-star review on Google, if there's 1 star and no comment, then you need to get on and say, We're so sorry that you were disappointed with your experience with our company. We would like to talk with you about that experience so we can rectify the situation or improve our service or improve whatever, was a problem. As a business owner, to me, if you engage and respond even to negative things for your business that are put out publicly, it shows you care. It shows you're willing to show up. And to be honest, as a consumer, that is more important to me than all of the 5-star reviews in the world with no follow up or no comment. Because if I'm going to trust a business, especially a business with something that's high dollar or high commitment from me, I want to know that that business is going to be engaged with me. So it's really important for you to respond to that. If it's a negative comment or a negative situation, my recommendation is to get that offline as soon as possible. So, what I mean by that is respond publicly, but give them a offline place to reach you. So, a phone number or an email address where they can come back and say, "This is my problem." Hopefully, if it is a legitimate problem and a legitimate situation, they will come back to you and they will say, "Here's what happened." And most times it's a misunderstanding or it's an oversight or something that's repairable. If that happens, repair it. And then at the end of it, when they've had a positive experience, ask them to go back and modify the review, because you as the business, you can't modify that. Okay. You don't have to publish a poor letter that gets sent to you that's a review of your business, but if it's on Google, you can't touch it. Right. So you need to get them to go in and modify it. And my ask would go something like this, okay, so we've resolved this now to where I would ask them first, is this resolved to your satisfaction? And when they said yes, what I would say is the review that you left on Google can be extremely damaging to our business. We understand that this was the situation, but we would ask that you please go back and either modify your review or respond to the comment with where we are now, so that people that are looking at our business have an understanding of what our customer service is really like. And most people, honestly, they don't want to leave bad reviews just to be awful. There are occasions when that happens, but most of the time they want just a good resolution to their experience. And most of the time, once they get that, they're really happy to go back and amend those reviews. Now, on occasion, you will get the person who just leaves a bad review out of spite, and there's nothing you can do about that. Your response to their review means that publicly people see that you responded. And if they continue to be a jerk, people are savvy. They figure that out. So they're like, well, the business responded and that person didn't do anything further, or all they did was continue to complain, then it just looks bad on them. So that's the reason we should never be afraid to ask for reviews or to engage with people who leave a negative review. Now, a lot of businesses will respond to the negative reviews, but they never respond to the positive ones. That is equally as much of a no no. When people leave you a good review, then you want to respond to it. If you know that person, if you have a business where you work closely with people, responding with something intimate or something that is like lets them know that has a little bit of a story or a connection is cool. I mean, being able to say, in the case of the flower or the florist, if somebody left a positive review there, the mother of the bride left a positive review, what you could do is the florist, is you could say, it was such an honor to be part of your wedding, and we're so glad you chose us, and we hope that whatever the bride and groom's name is have a long and happy marriage, and we were so happy to work with you. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid to, you don't have to just hit the button and say thank you for your review. Try to mention some details that let people know when they're reading the review section that you as the business owner really want to care and connect with them. To be honest, if you're selling a widget and it's $1.99, maybe that's not as key. But if you're doing something like life coaching, or you're selling flowers for a wedding, or you're selling something that is a big investment, if you're a real estate agent, I mean, a multitude of things where people have to make a lot of investment with time or money, the fact that you engaged with that person back from social proof is also really good social proof that you're a good organization to work with. Also, develop good social proof listening skills and tracking. So this is key in watching what people are putting on their own social networks, and what we call social listening, which is really what I said before, following the people that are your best customers, engaging with people on social media, getting uh, getting involved with them as part of a networking experience. And then also kind of tracking who is providing you with this social proof so that you can reward them, or at the very least thank them for it. So start developing skills where you make it a habit to Google your business name every once in a while, or search for your business name on social media to see if people are talking about you, and then to see if you need to be part of that conversation, or if you need to reward or thank somebody for their contribution to your business. Work your network is another one, right? Social proof, that word of mouth social proof, a lot of times that comes from our network connections, and it may be two or three people down the line. So get in the habit of providing referrals, of giving recommendations, of talking to people, of going out to lunch with people in your network. Someday we'll all be able to go back to lunch. But, as much as you can, be involved with your network so that they get to know who you are and can feel comfortable in recommending you. Give them all of the opportunity that you possibly can to recommend and refer you. I know a lot of people think business cards are dead. I, for one, do not. I think they're important, and I think they're key in promoting your business. And I also firmly believe that you should never, ever give a person one business card. You should always give people two or three, so that hopefully they will pass those along to other people that might be interested in working with you. That's what I call working your network, right? It's even sometimes asking for people to give you referrals, like saying, going to someone and saying, maybe there's a store owner who you share some customer target market with, and saying, if you ever see people in here that might need, so I'll give you an example. Let's say that florist, for example. She does wedding flowers, so she might make connections in her network with wedding planners, and she hands them business cards and says, "Hey, if you ever need a florist, or if you find people that are interested in getting a florist, if you would, pass my name along to them, I'd be highly appreciative of that." That's working your network. And that social, or that wedding planner, that person falls in the authority social proof category. So they're an authority, they're the wedding planner, they do this for a living, and they supplied your card as the florist to a bride. That bride is probably going to go with the card that was provided with them. Or at the very least, if it was multiple cards, it comes with weight enough for that bride to look at all of those options and to pick you, because you've attended this class on the social proof and you have more social proof on your website than the other competitor does. And this falls right into that. That's also falls into right into the next step, which is to seek opportunities to be presented as an authority. So that person that's the wedding planner handing your card is part of that. But also, maybe what you could do is do a class for the wedding planner for all of her clients about what flowers mean. Or maybe you even write a little free giveaway that the wedding you can give to the wedding planner, that has your logo on it. That's public usage, social proof, by the way. And the wedding planner can hand that out to her brides And it's just a little PDF that talks about the meaning of flowers and wedding bouquets or something like that. So also look for opportunities to be a featured guest on a podcast, or to be featured in a magazine or a newspaper, or to do a speaking engagement, or to teach a class. There are so many ways for you to show up as an authority, and as a recommendation by a larger organization that has a shared target market with you, that really offer proof to people that you are the choice that they should look at when they need what it is that you have to offer. So all of those are key. Okay, we are at the end of social proof. I have one last little tip here for you, is that social proof is one of, if not the most important, powerful asset you can harvest for your business. It is high time that you embrace this asset and really reach for it in your business to make your business successful. Mindfully go about this. Think about all of the ways that social proof can show up for your business, and start looking for avenues to really garner social proof from your customers, and then to use social proof in your sales and marketing process. All right. Make sure before you go that you do fill out the survey. If you want more of me, Megan was nice enough to post for the customer avatar class. That's a super fun class where we get to talk about our target market and really get to understand how to connect to our ideal customers. If you want still more of me before then, you can catch me on the Business Animal podcast with my co-host, Kara Taylor Swift. And we talk every single week about matters that are important to businesses. A lot of times our examples are around animal-based businesses, but truthfully, they work for all entrepreneurship. So please join us. That's a free avenue. We love to talk on that for anything that would help small business owners. Michelle, thank you so much for that compliment. I appreciate that. I love teaching these classes. I love helping small business owners. I'm going to give one more quick little plug here in the last moment or so of this class for Square One. Back when I started my business the first time, the first business I started, which I ended up in bankruptcy court because I didn't understand how to be a business owner. That was not a good experience for me. And I'm really glad that it didn't completely destroy my faith in becoming an entrepreneur. It did for a short period of time. But when I came back and I did it again, I got help. I went to a business counselor. I learned how to write business plans. I learned how to structure my business. I learned how to do cash flow. And I learned so much from them. And I loved it so much. I became a student of how to build a better business because I enjoyed the business building process so much. I made it my career. Back then, I was a graphic designer. Today, I get to help other business owners follow their dream to be successful entrepreneurs. And all I can tell you is that take advantage of every resource that you can get your hands on. And one of the best in the entire world is Square One to help you. Their counselors are patient, they're understanding, they're really wise, and it is well worth your time and effort to fill out that questionnaire and request a one-on-one appointment with the Square One counselor. All right, Megan, I think we're at the end.
All right, get us in the right view there. Thank you so much, Kim.
Well, thank you.
This was fun. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. We've got another thank you in the comment here from Lena, she tunes in to a lot of our classes. So good to see you, Lena,
Nice.
on here.
Lena. Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah. So again, just that last final plug for that survey, and thanks, Kim, for all of your social proof for Square One tonight. That was unexpected and fabulous.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Well, we'll hope to see you guys next time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.